Julian from Scranton, PA. How you doing?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind, Julian?
I was thinking about the Kentucky race for the Senate with Charles Booker
Yep.
scheduled for tomorrow.
Yep.
So as we know, this is sort of like a two-parter, but in Jesus Christ, at some point last week, they closed a couple thousand polling locations.
Yep.
Leading to only 200, and there's only one in Louisville, and that's a city with around 700, 600,000 people.
Yep.
My question is, how, logistically do they do that? Like, who's the person who snaps their fingers and does that? And, what's the legal justification? What is that? How does that just happen?
I'll tell you. Okay, go ahead.
And also, secondly, how do you think the public is, interpreting this? Because to me, it's pretty obvious that this is, a sort of racist voter disenfranchisement to throw this primary towards Amy McGrath. But from what I've seen from, little corners of the internet, I feel like most people are just interpreting this as helping out Mitch McConnell, which I'm sure in the long run it will, but I just don't think it's a coincidence that this is happening before the primary rather than the general. But how do you think most people sort of view this?
Well, they're setting a precedent. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that there is, strong forces in Kentucky that control what's going on there that are, looking to help Amy McGrath as much as they are as basically trying to disenfranchise voters. Because I think, look, any confusion that takes place and any difficulty in voting that takes place during the primary is going to, at least they hope, depress turnout in the fall. I'm going to let you go and I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
But here is what's happening in Kentucky. And the polling does show that Booker probably would do better than McGrath. I think it's still a long shot, but what they want to do is depress votes. And the best way to depress votes and suppress votes is to suppress votes. And it's not like there is a mechanism to unravel this. It is a long process, but you start with a conservative-controlled Supreme Court that guts the Voting Rights Act. In 2013, I think it is, they destroy Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. So states like Kentucky, and I believe they were one of the pre-clearance states, if they want to change their voting situation from a material perspective, like shutting down in Louisville, here's the figures. Jefferson County, the state's largest county, home to 767,000 voters or residents, and the city of Louisville, like our caller said, will have as its sole polling location a convention and expo center where voting booths have been set up 8 feet apart. 1 in 5 residents in that county is African American. It's the largest Black population in the state. Now, I mean, if you think this is a coincidence, I've got a bridge to sell you. And so we have no pre-clearance from under Section 5. I don't know if Kentucky was one of those states. I don't know that it was, actually. But nevertheless, we have a Department of Justice not aggressive in these regards. On Thursday evening, a federal judge rejected an effort to add polling places to the state's largest counties. I don't know for sure who appointed that federal judge, but if I had to guess, I would tell you that it's not Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. they want to suppress votes, because when you suppress votes in the primary, you will suppress votes presumably in the general election. Now, it doesn't always work that way. Wisconsin Republicans tried to do this and it got people pissed off. But the fact of the matter is like, if you show up to vote and there's 670,000 people who presumably, have one polling place, you're not going to go back in the fall because you're going to say, like, I'm not going to be able to vote. That's the way it works. That's what their hope is. But if you are in Kentucky and you do have the ability to vote for Booker, go vote for Booker. I would say also remind you, New York also votes tomorrow. And very important elections. We got a lot in New York City. You heard AOC on Friday talk about the importance of blue state Democrats actually being progressive, presumably representing some of the most progressive places in the country. They need to get into office and vote that way, as opposed to providing cover for the more conservative members of the caucus. So get out and vote tomorrow, folks. Very important. Same also with a week from tomorrow. If you're in Colorado, go vote for Romanoff. If you're in Oklahoma a week from tomorrow, vote for expanded Medicaid. That is also another place that's going to get hit hard by coronavirus in terms of voting opportunities. So makes a difference.
We got some great DSA endorsed candidates that you all can vote for. Josh did a plug for them last Friday, I believe. And you can look it up if you're in New York, socialists.nyc. Or if you are not in New York, it is dsausa.org. And as I always tell all of the ultra leftists who listen to my show, voting, it's a good idea. It can't hurt and it might even help. So there you go.
Exactly. Exact same amount of effort that it would take, regardless of how enthusiastic you are to vote. It's not that much effort. And it could very well make a difference. Also, I think the DSA, is a subset. There's probably a decent amount of crossover. I would imagine a significant amount of crossover. But if you're not sure, Justice Democrats, I would check their site as well. If you don't see anybody from a DSA perspective that they're supporting, check out Justice Democrats. I would imagine they have a wider slate, but certainly in New York, there's some very good opportunities for progressive pickups. And we'll see.